watch, tick, 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 tick. And suppose that we strap a wristwatch to that baseball. Well, that wristwatch, as the baseball is moving, that wristwatch is taking away time. Okay, so Newton's idea of universal time is that when 1 second elapses for that universal clock, that absolute clock, 1 second has elapsed for the universe. That means 1 second will elapse on this clock, and 1 second will elapse on that clock, regardless of the state of motion of this clock relative to that clock, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for Newton, space and time were both absolute. They were this sort of fixed things, these rigid things. Okay, but then there's a certain problem with that. Einstein came along, and he said, well, that's not quite right. That's not right at all. And these two ideas are, those ideas after space, after time, they're wrong. Okay, and we're going to, in the process of these lectures on relativity, we're going to discover exactly how they're wrong, and in fact, what is correct. Okay, so Einstein said that space and time themselves are not absolute, but they are relative. Okay, so basically that means that time, for example, time depends upon the motion of the observer. Okay, so here's an example. So you've got a watch, and I've got a watch, and both are identical watches, and we synchronize them, and they're both reading exactly, say, 12 noon. Okay, and then I go for, say, a walk around the building, and I come back. We put our watches next to each other again, and we find that, yes, they're in sync, they're both ticking at the same rate, but we will find that less time has elapsed for me. My clock is behind your clock. Okay, they were originally both reading exactly the same time, and ticking in sync with each other. I go around a walk around the block, I come back, I find that they're both now ticking at the same rate again, but my clock is behind. Less time has elapsed for me, okay, relative to your clock. Okay, so this is a fact about our universe, which we're going to try to understand. Okay, so basically, the first step in trying to understand how time and space are relative and what exactly that means is to explicitly show the motion of objects not only in space, like in this diagram, but also in time. Okay, so let me just write that down, and I'll give you a diagram. Okay, so basically, any object, the key point here is that any object, regardless of its state of motion through space, is inexorably moving forward through time. Okay, so this object here, while it's not here, it's moving in space. Now it's not. Now it's just sitting there. It's not moving through space, and yet it's still moving through time. If I strap a wristwatch to that thing, time will be ticking for that object. Okay, even though I'm at rest, my clock is still ticking. I'm moving forward in time. Okay, so what we need to do is to show an object's motion not only through space, but also explicitly show its motion through time. Okay, and that's a space-time diagram. So let me give you an example here, a couple of examples. Okay, so let's suppose that this is Alice, and we're going to take the point of view here that Alice is at rest. It's not like me just standing here like this. Okay, and Alice has an x-axis. Okay, so that's in the direction to the right, and things can move along her x-axis back and forth. So let's draw her x-axis. So this is space according to Alice. So that's her x-axis, the x-axis according to Alice, because there's subscript A on it. That's space according to Alice. And things can be happening in this space. Okay, so for example, there could be, say, Bob. Bob is standing beside Alice at rest. So here's Alice, and here's Bob, just standing at rest. Other things could be happening. Okay, so we have someone over here, say, Cleopatra, who is Alice's x-axis. So in motion in Alice's space. Okay, we're going to have people, other people, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now this is showing their motion in space. This one is not in motion in Alice's space. This one is in motion in Alice's space. That's fine. But we also need to show the motion through time. Okay, so the simplest person for whom to show that is Alice herself. So Alice is at rest in her space, but she's moving forward in time. Her clock is ticking. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's aging. Okay, so she's moving forward in time. How do you think we could represent that? Yeah. Vertical line. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take this diagram showing motion only in space and convert it into a space-time diagram. So there's the space part of the space-time diagram, and here's the time part, just a vertical line. Okay, so in this vertical line here, what we can say is this is Alice. Right, position is 0 here. So this is Alice when her clock reads 0. And this is Alice when her clock reads 1. This is Alice when her clock reads 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so this is a picture. This is a space-time picture of Alice standing at rest. So as time goes on, her position in space doesn't change. It always remains 0, but her time nevertheless ticks away. Okay, so this is time according to Alice. And it will be time according to Bob, and so on and so forth. This is Bob here. Okay, so this is called the world line. This is a picture of Alice's trajectory through space-time. Now here is Bob. What is Bob? So Bob is standing some fixed distance away from Alice like this. But the distance between Alice and Bob don't change. And Bob has his own clock. Tick, 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 tick. How would I draw Bob's world line in Alice's space-time? Yeah. Bob's not moving around. So it's where you have to draw the line. Right. So Bob initially is over here some fixed distance away from Alice, maybe it's 2 meters. Okay, at a later time he's also 2 meters. At a later time he's also 2 meters, and so on. So he remains the same distance away from Alice as time goes on. Okay. What about Bob's clock? Okay. What about when 1 second elapses for Alice, say between here and here? How much time will it elapse for Bob? Are you sure? Yeah, so the rest are respect each other. What if I put I'll put a massive desk over there. That's under let's put I don't know. A massive clock and a long house that's looking over there. It will still true that when 1 second lasts for Alice, 1 second lasts for Bob. Let me say yes. Let me say no. The answer is no. Okay? If you have a massive object over here, then that's the rate at which time moves. So as we heard yesterday, sometimes told us about that light beam. So remember, we have this elevator here, and we have this light beam with bearings like this. And he said in order to make sense of this, so this is a picture in the accelerating spaceship, according to the equivalence principle, it means that if you were standing on the surface of the Earth like this and turn on a flashlight, the beam goes over that, the mass of the Earth will bend the beam, the gravity bends light. And since it has experiencing the same time, moving there, moving there. And so the speed always be the speed of light. It means the time moves more slowly down here than it does up here. Okay, so time, the rate at which time moves depends on your location in a gravitational field. So here's the Earth, it creates a gravitational field actually working of time in the neighborhood of the Earth here. Such that time moves more quickly at this level than at this level. You'll see a lot more as we go forward with these lectures. So it's not obvious that Bob's clock is going to be moving at the same rate as Alice's clock. But because there's no massive objects around, okay, it's reasonable to think that's the case. In fact, that is true. Okay, so what that means is when 1 second elapses for Alice, 1 second will elapse for Bob. But Bob's clock needs not be synchronized with Alice's. For example, when Alice's clock reads 0, Bob's clock might be 7. In which case, this is what? So Well, consider our rest of the space. Okay, but now here we have Cleopatra. In the space diagram, her motion is moving with some velocity d to the right like this. Okay, so how would I draw her world line? Diagonal. Okay, so what that means is, as time goes on, Cleo is moving to the right. Okay, so her line is going to be tilted like this. Okay, right. So now the question is, what is when 1 second elapses for Alice? Okay, how much time will it elapse for Cleo? Okay, so remember here, Cleo here has her own watch. Okay, this is on Cleo, and I'm going to watch my watch is ticking away. Okay, so Cleo's watch might read, say, 0 over there, and then as time goes on, it might read 1 over there, it might be 2 over there, and so forth. Okay, so how do I, when 1 second elapses for Alice, how much time elapses for Cleo? More than 1? How many say more than 1? How many say less than 1? How many say same? Okay, so definitely not the same, and it turns out to be less than 1. Okay, so what it looks like is something like this. This is Cleo, when her clock reads 0. Cleo, when her clock reads 1, is actually, maybe say over here. Okay, so that means as Cleo is moving like this, when her clock reads 1, she's at a certain location in Alice's space, and a certain amount of time has elapsed for Alice. Okay, so she's at a certain location in Cleo's space, and a certain amount of time has elapsed for Alice. Okay, and so more than 1 second will elapse for Alice. So maybe 1.5 seconds. So Alice will look at Cleo's watch and say, your watch is running slow. Okay, we'll look at this, and we want to say exactly why this slows down and so on. Okay, and similarly, if it's just 1 second for Cleo, we just march up 18 intervals like that. Okay, so what if we have, say, I don't know, draw first, who's going really, really fast. Right, how do we draw his world line? More, right? So it's also tilted, but more tilted. Okay, so it might look something like this. So it's time according to Cleo, and we'll have time according to Godbird over here. Okay, so what about the spacing between Godbirds, say 0? Where would I put 1 second? Would it be further up than this? Yeah, so the effect is more pronounced. Okay, as we speed up. Okay, so now all of these motions that are happening are constant velocity. Bob is at a velocity, constant velocity of 0 with respect to Alice. Cleo is at a constant velocity d with respect to Alice. So these are all uniform motion. What about non-uniform motion? What about accelerated motion? Okay, special relativity deals with accelerated motion. How do you say special relativity is fine with accelerated motion? How do you say special relativity is not fine with accelerated motion? It's like, to reverse this hands going up, okay? It turns out that special relativity has absolutely no problem with accelerated observers. And that's exactly how, in fact, Einstein, that was one of the stepping stones in getting from special relativity to general relativity and theory of gravity, is Einstein thought about accelerated observers in the context of special relativity. So here's an accelerated observer. Okay, so this is, I don't know, and goes like this. He starts at rest, and then he speeds up, and he runs to the right, and then he runs back like this. Is how would I draw Ed's world line? Yeah. So you start like this. He starts moving to the right. Okay, as time goes on, eventually slows down, comes to a rest. At this point, he's momentarily at rest. When you're at rest, respect to the house, but your world line is vertical. All you're not moving in space, just time is moving, and then he picks up speed in the other direction. Okay. So during this time, when he's in motion with respect to Alice, there'll be funny things happening with his time. But then here, let's say when he's nearly at rest here, then when 1 second elapses for Alice, 1 second elapses for Ed. Okay. So that's the basic idea of space-time diagrams, and we'll talk a lot more about this as we go along, and we'll actually figure out exactly this time dilation, etc., etc. Okay. So, what I want to do is to get some practice with drawing space-time diagrams, and also to introduce some very important concepts which will be useful when we try to understand the true nature of time. I want to consider a really simple situation experiment. Okay, this is a sound in air experiment. Okay, so the idea is something like this. Here's our experiment. That's very exciting. Okay, so we've got Alice here. Alice is at rest. Okay, so we're going to draw the situation first in space. By the way, experiments in special general relativity tend to be extremely simple, but conceptually very deep. Okay, so here we go. So here's Alice at x-axis, and she is at rest. She's standing here at rest like this. Okay, and what she does is she claps her hands, and what happens is a sound wave moves radially outwards in all directions, and the sphere expands at the speed c in all directions. In particular, we will be interested in 2 points on that wavefront that's moving outwards. Okay, one of them is the point on the wavefront here that's moving to the right, and the other is the point on the wavefront here that's moving to the left. So we're interested in this point on the wavefront, which starts right at her hands and moves to the right at the speed of sound relative to air. So we're imagining that Alice is at rest with respect to the air. She claps her hands. This wave goes out in all directions. We're interested in the part of the wave that's going to the right and the part of the wave that's going to the left. Okay, so the part of the wave that goes to the right goes to the right at speed c. This is the speed of sound relative to still air. Okay, and we'll look at this part of the wavefront, which is moving to the left, like that. Okay, so that's the kind of picture that we would draw in space of what's happening. Now let's draw the same picture but in space-time. So this is Alice's space. Things happen in Alice's space, and time moves on. Okay, so Alice herself, well, the picture of Alice herself is just a vertical line. Okay, so this is time according to Alice. Okay, and let's see. So this guy, this point over here on this wavefront starts at Alice's location and moves to the right at a speed c. So what is this world line in Alice's space-time? How do I draw the world line of that point on the wavefront as it moves from her location to the right? Yep. Yeah, okay. So it's going to be some line that has some slope here. Okay, if the speed of sound is very small, that means it will cover, it will take a long time to cover a small distance. And so the world line of a slowly moving sound wave will look like this. Okay, if the sound wave is moving very, very quickly, that means it covers a great distance in a small amount of time, and the world line will look something like this. Okay, so it's important just to get into your head that world lines that are vertical are at rest with respect to Alice. World lines, as you tip the world line more and more and more, you're representing something moving faster and faster and faster with respect to Alice. This is 0 speed, this is infinite speed. Okay, the speed of sound is moving at some speed between 0 and infinite, some finite speed, 100 meters per second or something like that. Okay? Now there's a very, very convenient trick in order to make the world line of a sound wave exactly at 45 degrees. It's somewhere between here and here. It's convenient to choose basically the scale of this axis such that it's at 45 degrees. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, the way we do that is very simple. Instead of plotting time versus sound wave, we're watching the progress of the sound wave, and it's moving through Alice's face. And suppose that at some time it has covered a distance t. Okay, so it has gone out to a distance t. So in this picture, as time has gone on, the sound wave has moved to the right and it's moved out, say, to a distance t. Okay, in other words, we're sitting right there. Okay, so what is the corresponding time? How much time has elapsed for Alice? Here, actually, c times time. Well, we can figure this out. The time that has elapsed for Alice. Time is just distance over velocity. So what is that? T over c. So what is c times t? Remember, we're plotting not t versus x, but c times t versus x. What is c times Alice's time? Just d. Okay, so that means that's just d. So if that's d and that's d, well, then this must be 45 degrees. Okay, so it's very, very convenient to plot ct versus x to t versus x. What about this wavefront? What is its world line in this picture? Diagonal the other way. Okay, so as time goes on, the other wavefront moves to the left. Okay, so diagonal the other way, if I'm choosing to plot ct versus x to t versus x, it's also 45 degrees. Okay, so that's that. One thing to point out here that's very, very important is, what are the units? What are the units of c times t? Meters. Okay, so, or just a distance. Okay, if I take a velocity times the time, that gives me a distance. I'm using meters to measure distance, that is meters. Okay, so CTA, that has the dimensions of length. Okay, what are the dimensions of XA? Same. Okay, so both CTA and XA have the same dimensions. They're both lengths. Okay, so we can measure both of them in meters or kilometers or light years, whatever. We can measure them in the units of meters. Okay, so in other words, what we've done is we changed our space-time diagram from, say, seconds on this axis and meters on this axis to meters and meters. We're plotting meters versus meters. We put space and time on the same footing. It's very important. Okay, we put them on the same footing because eventually what we want to get to is the fact that space and time are not separate entities, but they're in fact parts of just two different parts of a whole. Space-time. Okay, so in Einstein's picture of the world, space and time are unified together. They're welded together into this structure called space-time. So for Newton, space was absolute and time was absolute. For Einstein, neither space nor time are absolute, they're both relative, and what is absolute is space-time. At least in special relativity. And in general relativity, this space-time itself becomes not absolute. Okay, but anyways, so we will talk about that as we go along. But the point is, by plotting ct versus x, we're now treating space-time on the same footing. Okay, next. Let's talk about a certain thought experiment. So you may know that Einstein was famous for doing these fantastic thought experiments, which led him to all kinds of amazing insights. We're going to do a very, very important thought experiment here, which is initially going to tell us a little bit about the Doppler shift for sound moving in air, but ultimately it's going to tell us about the true nature of time. It's a very important thought experiment. Okay, it's going to be very, very simple to begin with, but then it's going to get conceptually very deep. Okay, so here's the experiment. What we're going to do is, we're going to start down here. Okay, so this is Alice's space axis, FA. Okay, and Alice is down here, and Alice is at rest in her space. Okay, so her world line is just a vertical line, so let's put we're converting a space diagram into a space-time diagram. Okay, so Alice's world line just goes up like this. Okay, so we got that. And remember, we're not putting TA here, we're putting C. Time according to Alice times the speed of sound. Okay, and Alice is at rest with respect to the air. Okay, now we're entering another character, Bob. Okay, so Alice is going to be standing here at rest in her space and at rest with respect to the still air. And Bob is doing something very simple. He's just drifting by her like this at a constant velocity. Okay, so in a space diagram, we would have him walking like this with some velocity. Okay, into that thought. Now, let's suppose that Alice's clock reads, say, 0 here, or this marks the point at which Bob crosses Alice's path. Now, okay, so at that point, so prior to that point, Bob was to the left of Alice. After that point, he's to the right of Alice. Okay, so his world line will look like what? Take a step to the right. Let's tilt it a bit to the right. Okay, but not too far. Okay, I can add this diagram something. So something is moving at subsonic speed. Here's an example of subsonic. Okay, the tilt of the world line from the vertical is less than 45 degrees. Here's something moving supersonic. The tilt of this world line is greater. We're covering more distance in the same amount of time, and we're covering faster than the speed of sound. Okay, so we're going to see that Bob is moving at less than the velocity v is less than the speed of sound, so he's subsonic. So his world line will be tilted at less than 45 degrees. Okay, so we got that, and this is Bob's axis. So as Alice's clock ticks, there are tick marks on here, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, so on. As Bob's clock ticks, that's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, so on. Okay, so we got that. The next thing is, what we're going to do is, we're going to imagine this situation. So Alice is at rest there. Bob is drifting by like this. Okay, the instant that they cross paths, they both zero their clocks. They hit zero on their stop watches. Bob continues drifting like this. Okay, and then at some point, he's just drifting like this. Okay, now from Alice's point of view, what she does is, after Bob crosses her path, she looks at her watch and she waits a certain amount of time. Say T, say capital T. So it's another sign, capital T, on her watch. And then she clasps her hands like this, which sends a sound signal chasing after Bob. Because Bob is moving at less than the speed of sound, that sound signal will eventually catch up to Bob and hit Bob. And Bob will hear that sound signal. Okay, and as soon as he hears that sound signal, what he does is he clasps his hand and he sends a sound signal racing back towards Alice. Okay, so that's the experiment. Okay, so the first thing is, from the time that Bob crosses her path, she lets Bob drift to the right for a certain amount of time, say capital T on her watch. Okay, so what is, where do I put that point on the CT axis? Just put the space here. Okay, because we're going C times T, we call it C times T. Okay, so at this point over here, Alice sends a sound signal, claps her hands and sends a sound signal chasing after Bob. Okay, so how do I draw that sound signal chasing after Bob? 45. Okay, so this guy's going at 45 degrees like this. And it is Bob over here, so that's 45. Okay, so, and now, that sound signal chases after Bob, eventually reaches Bob, hits Bob, and then Bob sends a sound signal back to Alice. So this is an extremely important point, so we're going to look at it. So Bob is drifting like this, okay, he hears the sound signal, say, at this point, and then while he's in motion, he goes 10, and he claps his hands, he sends the sound signal, chasing back towards Alice there. The question is, with what speed does Alice reckon that sound wave is coming after? Yeah. Okay. Any other ideas? So you can see the right track. Because he's in motion to the right like this, when he claps his hands like this, it's not totally obvious what the speed is going to be, or what speed Alice is going to measure. Okay, so maybe it's the speed c minus d. Any other ideas? The same speed as c. Okay, so how many say it's just c? How many say it's c minus d? How many don't know? That's not good. Okay. So the fact is, the speed is just c. Okay, this is a very, very important point. So let me just write this down, and then we'll talk a bit about this. Okay, so I want to make a statement here. Actually, I'll do it over here. Okay, so this is a very important fact to do with sound in air. Okay, so what's being said here again? So with respect to, let me read this out. For observers at rest with respect to the air, the speed of sound that they measure is independent of the motion of the source of that sound. Okay, so the statement is that although Bob is in motion, here he is drifting relative to Alice and relative to the air. When he clasps his hands, the sound wave that he emits in all directions, the speed of that sound will be measured to be c for someone at rest with respect to the air. The reason for that is that sound is a vibration of air. Okay, so when I'm at rest here and I tap my hands, what am I doing? Well, basically I'm sending out a whole bunch of air molecules. Okay, and those air molecules bump into the neighboring molecules and cause them to jiggle, and those then in turn bump into the neighboring molecules, cause them to jiggle, and so on. So it's like a domino effect. So when I go like this, I'm causing a domino effect of air molecule vibration going out in all directions. Okay, and that air, those vibrations move with the speed c, the same in all directions. If I'm a moving source, if I'm walking like this, and I clap my hands like this, just like I clap my hand, I set up some disturbance in the air. Okay, now I might move on like this, and my hand might go over here, and I'm clapping like this. I'm a source in motion. But as soon as I set up a disturbance like this, then that disturbance takes on a life of its own, okay, and it moves, it expands in a sphere centered at the point of the disturbance. Okay, so let me show you a little atmosphere, which might make this a little bit clearer here. Showing you the Doppler effect. So if you know what Doppler effect is, what's the Doppler effect?
It's kind of like how sound is like from the source, but like how far closer it is from different, and then
okay, how far closer do you mean how motion? Do you mean how fast or slow?
Yeah, how fast or slow going.
Okay, so if something is moving towards you, then the frequency of sound is different.
If they're close together, it's more high sound.
Right, so the classic example is an ambulance. So here is an ambulance. So this ambulance is showing you an ambulance swimming along here. The ambulance is emitting sound waves. Okay, so it's like the ambulance is passing this. It's moving towards the sound. Notice that each time the ambulance emits the sound wave, it creates a disturbance in the air in that location. Now that location, as soon as it creates that disturbance, that sound wave moves briefly outwards in all directions, centered on that location. Okay, so there's sound wave emitted, there's sound emitted, there's sound emitted. And once it sets up a disturbance in the air, then that wave moves with respect to the air. Okay, so there are two things going on here. One of them is this Doppler shift. Okay, so you'll notice that here's our observer, and here's the sound waves coming toward our observer, and the wave fronts are closer together on this line. So the wave fronts are walking over our observer more quickly, they're coming fast. So when the ambulance is approaching, we have an increase in the frequency of sound of the ambulance. When the ambulance is receding, you'll notice the distance between those wave fronts is now greater. And the wave fronts wash over our observer at a lower frequency. Okay, so when the ambulance is approaching, the pitch is higher. When the ambulance is receding, then the pitch is higher and slower. Okay, so that's definitely an effect. Okay, so the Doppler effect is definitely there, and we're going to try to calculate that. But what I'm trying to focus on here is the fact that the speed of this wave here as it approaches the observer, whether the ambulance is approaching the observer, or receding from the observer, the speed of these sound waves in any direction is the same as what we see relative to an observer at rest with respect to the air. Okay, so that's a very, very important concept that to have in your mind. So I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that? Yeah. So no matter what the source is, if I have rest with respect to the medium, and you've got a fire, and you're running around the room doing this, we're working and so on, I will draw my Doppler effect. You're running the fire, you're running away with and so on. But if I were to measure the speed of that sound once it's created, moves by a domino effect relative to still air. And so the speed of that wave is always c in any direction. Yeah. What the speed relative to light motion? So what would be the speed of sound? We'll do the same thing on the light decrease. The speed of sound for it's something different. Yeah. But it'll change. So if you're saying a source at rest, you're a fire at rest, I will measure some speed, right? If you're moving forward or away, it doesn't matter, I'll measure the same speed. But now if I start moving relative to the air, so that's a little bit different. Now say you're a source at rest, you're sending sound waves to me, they're moving with speed c relative to the sound, like relative to the air. If I'm now moving relative to the air towards you, I'll measure c plus c by moving this way. Okay, so very important if you're all this stuff applies when you're at rest with respect to the air. Yes. So earlier you said it was like a vertical line. It was like 0, and then increase in velocity across like infinity at the x. Well, that would be light speed at the x because then like no time will pass until your light speed. So here's something to get here. So yes, it is true that when something is moving at the speed of light, if something is massive, it's moving at the speed of light. In which case, yeah, basically the time dilation effect becomes extreme. And basically no time passes. So if you're a photon moving across the room, it takes you no time to get from there. No time lasts. In fact, if you travel across the entire universe, you no time. So we'll talk about that later. In this picture, all we're thinking about is sound in the air. We get that concept here first. Alright, okay, so. receives that sound signal, he has covered a certain distance d in Alice's space. Okay, so he receives the sound signal when he's traveled at a distance d. So that's a d sitting there. Okay, so if this distance is d, and that's 45 degrees, what is this distance? Okay, this is also d. It's not very interesting. That's very important. Okay, that's how convenient this is. Because we're measuring x, we're measuring space and time both in meters and c times t. This is in meters, that's in meters. Okay, so that's d, and that's 45 degrees, that's d also. Okay, d meters. What about this guy over here? Also d. Okay, so we got that. And what else can we ask this diagram? Well, let's find this expression for t. So a little bit of like time pass between the recurrent cloud. Like really not form of a rectangle, like that, because it's not going to take lots of process. Yeah, so we're going to find. So in other words, another way to think about that is Alice like this, sends the sound wave here, and Bob just has a big board here, and just reflects off. So there's no thinking time at all. Or we can take Bob just looking at the finger, he's the same. So there's no time delay. Alright, so we got that. So let's talk a little bit about the relation between this distance and this velocity. Okay, so we know that distance d is velocity times time. So what am I going to put for velocity? What am I going to put for time? Look at this picture. Well, started at Alice's location. By the time he received that sound signal, he had traveled the distance d. How much time has elapsed for Alice? How much time does this? So Alice reckons that Bob receives that sound signal, but he is located a distance d from her, and a certain amount of time has elapsed for her. How much time? Yes. So it's this time over here. So Bob crossed her path, and he moved the distance d. How much time did it take? Well, this whole time. Okay, so it's ct plus d. Okay. But that's c times the time. I think it's divide by c. We get the time. Okay. So we got that. So here in this formula here, there's a d there, there's a d there. And what you can do is you can solve for d. I'll leave that as an exercise for you to do. So in fact, what we want to solve for is the ratio of d divided by ct. And so what you get is d over c divided by 1 minus d over c. Okay, so I won't go through that simple algebra. You can do it later on site if you want. This is a very important equation which we'll use many times. Okay, this we'll call equation number 1. Alright. And finally, we get to the really important part of this figure. And that is how much time elapses for Bob. From the time he passes Alice's location to the time that he receives the class. You remember, Bob is drifting across Alice's frame. As soon as he drifting past Alice in her space, as soon as he passes Alice's location, he zeroes his clock. Time is ticking for Bob, tick, 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 tick. That sound wave comes instant, boom, and then how much time elapses on Bob's clock? So according to this diagram, how much time is that? Here. Yeah, so this seems to be this, right? Okay? But that's assuming that when 1 second lasts for Alice, 1 second lasts for Bob. Okay, but I'm not sure about that anymore, right? I'm not sure about that. Okay, and in fact, when Bob is moving out to Alice, when 1 second lasts for Alice, it's not very true that 1 second lasts for Bob. Because we actually don't know how much time it lasts. We don't make any assumption about universal time. That when 1 second lasts for one person, 1 second lasts for everyone. Okay, so in fact, what we'll do is we'll just say, well, we don't actually know what it is. But what we do know that it's proportional to each time. Okay, how do we know that? Well, let me just draw this diagram figure. Okay, so Alice waits a certain time out of ct, and then she emits that sound signal, which travels about 45 degrees. And we're interested in how much time elapses on Bob's clock. Here's Bob's clock, tick, 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 tick. Okay, well, suppose we don't make the assumption of universal time. Suppose we don't make the assumption that it's simply this amount of time. Okay, if we don't make that assumption, what they can assume, though, is that it is proportional to this time. So it's some proportionality factor, some proportionality constant k times ct, where k is an unknown constant which we will determine. Okay, and why is it proportional? Well, suppose that I were to double, suppose that Alice were to, instead of waiting times ct, suppose she were to double that time, and we find 2 times ct. Okay, and that sound signal will go 45 degrees, and it's pretty obvious that if you double this guy from here to here, you're going to double this guy from here to here. So whatever time elapses for Bob is going to be proportional to ct. We don't yet know what that proportionality constant is. Okay, so this k is an unknown proportionality constant, which will clearly depend upon the velocity. Okay, we're going to try to figure out how it depends on the velocity. K is directly related to the dot ratio in this experiment. It's also going to give us some deep insight into the nature of time. All right, so let's try to figure out what k is. Okay, let's get here. All right. Alright, so we're going to determine k through 2 different means. Yeah. Ct and the angles. Do you mean this angle here? Yeah, because like, didn't we say that it was 45 degrees with the sound signal? Yeah, well I think this is 45, and then that element here is 45. Well, okay, so you know this guy, you know that's 45, so this is 135 or whatever, and you know this angle is so good. So then you can apply some trick. Yeah, figure that out. Excellent thinking. Why don't you do that? Okay, so what you're saying is that a sine like this, you know, if I know this side, I know this angle, like the sine of this, the sine of this angle of this side, you can do all that stuff, right? Okay, so all of those relationships that are satisfied by that triangle assume that the space or the picture you're going to is a certain geometry. Okay, so if all those properties are true, I'm saying, why do you say x versus y? If I have a triangle in space, 2-dimensional space, then yes, it's true that, or let's say Pythagoras, then it's true that, you know, this square plus this square equals that square, right? And all those signs cosine law are based on Pythagoras theorem, that this square plus this square equals that square. Okay, so in other words, space, 2-dimensional space, is a certain kind of geometry. Okay, so you're agreeing somehow that geometry also applies to space and time. If I were to replace, instead of applying x versus y, if I were to apply x versus ct, you're assuming that we still have Euclidean geometry. You're assuming that this square plus this square equals that square. Right? And that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Okay, so it's true that space-time does have a geometry, but it's not Euclidean geometry. Okay? It turns out that this square is not this square plus this square, it's this square minus this square. And we'll get that. So space-time does have a geometry, and that's an excellent point, but it's not the geometry we're familiar with. But we will discover what that geometry is and talk a fair bit about it. Okay, so one way that we can determine k is to make the assumption, use assumption of universal time. Or absolute time. Okay, by universal time, that means when 1 second elapses for Alice, then 1 second elapses for Bob. Okay, regardless of Bob's motion relative to Alice. Okay, so if that's the case, then what is the time for Bob? CT plus D divided by C. Okay, so what we know then is that CT plus D divided by C, that's the time for Alice here. And that's also the time for Bob, which is equal to K times CT, according to this picture here. So we're saying that that is equal to that. So the right hand side here we have KCT. K times CT. Okay? So let's divide both sides. So let's take this C on here. Oh, sorry, we've already taken this. We've already taken C out. Let's trace it. Just C. Let me just see this properly. So what we're saying is that D plus CT is equal to KCT. Okay, so now dividing both sides by C, what we get is solving for K. We get, let me actually enumerate this way. And just dividing both sides by C, we get this. Yeah. Okay, so this is equation number 2, we'll call it. Okay, so based upon this, so far, this picture is just all common sense. Okay, so there's nothing fancy happening in this, we're just getting the sound moving in there. Okay, and we got equation number 1 over here, so this is a simple equation. Equation number 2 here is based upon the assumption of an absolute or universal time. Okay, so now we have this equation. And this equation involves K, and it also involves D. If you look at this equation number 1, that involves D and C. And basically we can plug that equation into that equation, and we can solve for K. Okay, so the result is, I'll let you do the algebra there. So if I combine equations 1 and 2 and do a little bit of algebra, I find that K is equal to 1 over 1 minus D over C. Okay? And so we see that K indeed depends upon the velocity. There's a velocity. And in fact, it depends upon only the ratio of velocity relative to the speed of sound. Just the ratio of the dimensionless number D over C. Okay, so let's try to understand how this K is related to the Doppler shift. I'm saying that it is essentially the same thing. Okay, so let's try to make sense of that. So we will do another sort of thought experiment here. That's right. So if Bob goes to speed of sound, then K goes to infinity. And if Bob changes speed of sound, then K starts at minus infinity and starts increasing again. So we're just 0 through negative numbers. We will see that the Doppler shift is related to 1 over K. So, again, that's a very important point. Whenever you see any kind of formula or expression, look for places where weird things happen with that formula. So that formula there, when D is equal to C, weird things happen. And it's important to understand what this means. Okay, so here's the experiment in space. Okay, so here is Alice's x-axis. Okay, so space according to Alice. And Alice is at rest as usual in her space, and Bob, as usual, is moving in her space. To the right of some CT. Now what we're going to do is we are going to allow Alice to send a sound signal, a tone. Okay, just like a siren from heaven, wherever she's sending out a tone, like sending it over to Bob like this. Okay, so she's singing to Bob. Okay, so she's emitting the sound wave, which is moving with the speed C towards Bob. Okay, and these are successive crests of that sound wave. Okay, and those successive crests are being emitted with a certain frequency. Okay, so just understand that here. Okay, so there's some frequency according to Alice. So Alice is saying that when I'm singing, then I'm sending out these sound waves at some frequency. They're coming. The wave crests are coming out of my mouth at a certain rate. So many wave crests per second. So what is the time between the time Alice is watching between those wave crests? If the frequency is f(a), what is the time between those wave crests? Over. Okay, so let's draw Alice's road line, which is this line up here. Okay, so that's time. Let's just drop the C from this time according to Alice. And here's Bob. Bob is starts initially, so this is the way for Alice, but he's moving. Okay, so that's Bob's axis like this. Okay, and so we're going to look at the emission of 2 successive wave crests. The first one here is emitted and makes its way over to Bob at the speed C. Okay, so here's the first wave crest emitted. It makes its way over to Bob at a speed C, so it's 45 degrees, and then eventually catches up with Bob, and that wave crest washes over Bob. Okay, we look at the second wave crest, which is moving like this. The time elapsed between the emission of the first wave crest and the second wave crest, according to Alice, is TA, which is the square root of frequency. Okay, that second wave crest now travels toward Bob, also 45 degrees, and it's off. Now the question is, what is the elapsed time for Bob here? What do you think? If the elapsed time here is TA for Alice, what's the elapsed time here for Bob? Yeah, well, K plus TA, right? So what that factor K does is it allows us to convert elapsed times for Alice into elapsed times for Bob. So the original picture looked like this, where we had some CT over here, and then this becomes KCT. So basically, whatever is here, you multiply by K to get that time. Okay, so that would be true also for take this interval multiplied by K to get that interval. Just like this interval multiplied by K to get that interval. Okay, so CD here is just going to be equal to K times TA. Okay, so let's see. So what does that tell us? So what's the frequency according to Bob? How is it related to T according to Bob? 1 over TD, which is 1 over K TA, which is 1 over K times 1 over TA is just FK. So in other words, the frequency with which Bob hears that tone coming from Alice will be related to the frequency that Alice measures by this factor, 1 over K. Okay, so 1 divided by K, there's our K, is 1 minus V over C. Okay, this is the usual Doppler shift. Bob is saying the frequency according to Alice, which is obvious. Alice is singing to Bob here, and Bob is at rest, but he hears the same frequency. But if Bob is drifting away from Alice, okay, then he's going to hear a lower tone. Okay, so like that siren moving away. So the frequency is going to be lower. So as we increase V, 1 minus V over C is going to be a number less than 1. Okay, and the frequency according to Bob is going to decrease. He's going to hear a lower tone. What happens as V approaches C? What frequency according to Bob? When d is equal to c. 0. So when d is equal to c, we have 1 minus 1 is 0. So the frequency according to Bob is just 0. So if Bob is moving at the speed of sound away from Alice, then that whenever Alice says to her, says to him or sings to him, the frequency gets shifted all the way down to 0. And what if Bob exceeds the speed of sound? He's going to stay close to the speed of sound. What do we get? V is close to the speed of sound. Yeah, so we get 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So we get the frequency according to Bob is negative the frequency according to Alice. What does that mean? Yes. So basically Alice will say some stuff to Bob. Oh Bob, I love you. Bob is going away, right? And then that set of sound wave patterns is now in the air and moving like this at the speed of sound. Okay? If now Bob happens to be moving faster than the speed of sound, he will see those sound waves go this way relative to him. And he will hear it in reverse. He will hear it talking backwards. I love you. When you say that backwards, what does that mean? You're going to get the speed right. Okay, so what time are we at here? Oh, okay. Okay, so what I'd like to do is, maybe we can just take a break here because we'll do this more. It's already 10:30. Yeah. There's that if we move further past the sound wave, you would see like the reverse of it, but the sound wave would never reach it. So how would you hear backwards? Okay, let's suppose that Alice has been, well, it depends. It depends on, here's Alice, and she emits this chunk of sound. She starts talking after she stops talking here. Okay, this chunk of sound is moving like this. And Bob is around it. Yeah, so I'm just saying that let's suppose that Bob is such that, supposed to be moving at the speed of sound, and so, and you guys sort of distance from her, so that he's sitting here. So that chunk of sound is moving like this, and he's sitting right there. Okay, and then he moves to the right, he moves to the left like this, and he's moving left at the speed of sound, and he'll hear just lower frequency, but it's the correct way forward. If he's moving fast at the speed of sound, so he's moving relative to that chunk of sound, so he's moving to the right. So let's imagine that Alice has, in fact, said this repeatedly over and over and over again to Bob. And so we're going to still all the space and repeat having that. And then you can move farther forward. So that's the left. If you say, let me look at the sound. I'm just moving to try to see the sound. Yeah. But when you look at the hear it, but if you hear something, when you hear nothing sounds. So yeah, we found this wave, and sort of this wave is moving. You can see the Bob is caught up with it. And so it's just sitting here, the Bob is just sitting here around. And there's a pressure wave around it that takes this pressure. So he's in a region with slightly higher pressure than average. So it's just static. I would say, like, a box figure where you kind of pressurize the box a bit over there. You're getting right? Yeah. And then if he moves slowly from here to here, and now moves at the speed of sound, you're like a lower pressure, you're like pull on the box a bit. And so it's not, you're going to pull it out, like that, you're going to lower the battery. Yeah, but let's imagine that sound has been happening for a long time. And the sound fills, from this point all the way forward, sound waves fill the entire space. And then Bob comes along. Yeah. Again, and let's see, so I want to recap what we did yesterday. So yesterday we did a very simple experiment. We had Alice at rest in still air, and we had Bob moving past her like this. And remember, as soon as Bob moves past her, she starts her watch going, she waits for a certain sign T, she claps her hands, the sound signal goes chasing after Bob, and it reaches Bob, and then Bob claps his hands, sends the sound signal back to Alice. And we came up with this picture here. So here is Alice. Alice is at rest with respect to the air. Okay, and so her world line is just vertical like that. Okay, and remember, we're plotting the speed of sound C times time for Alice. And what's Bob doing? Well, Bob is drifting across her frame as time goes on. So his world line, he crosses her path over here, and his world line goes up like this. And so this is Bob's time axis. His clock is ticking, tick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on his clock. Okay, as he's floating across her space. And just as a reference here, 45 degrees. What's 45 degrees? So if Alice were to clap her hands at the same time that Bob passed her location, then this sound wave would travel faster than Bob and would go further than him in a given time. Okay, so this is a sound wave. So this is 45 degrees. And you see the speed of sound. Okay, so we got that. And then as soon as Bob crosses her path, she starts her stopwatch and she waits a certain time, capital T, on her clock, and then she emits a sound wave. She claps her hands. So because we're plotting C times T, we see here. Okay, and then that sound signal goes out at 45 degrees, like this. It catches up with Bob, and he claps his hands, and he sends the sound signal back like that. And the important thing here is that this is 45 degrees, obviously because Alice is at rest with respect to the air, and any sound that she emits, she's going to observe it to be moving at the speed of sound. But this one here is also at 45 degrees. This is the important one. This is also at 45 degrees, even though Bob is a moving source. Bob is drifting with respect to the air. He claps his hands, but as soon as he claps his hands, he sets up a disturbance in the still air, and then that sound radiates outward with respect to the still air. And so it moves through the still air at a speed C back to Alice, who is at rest with respect to the still air. And so she sees that sound wave coming at her with a speed C. So it's also 45 degrees, and that's crucial here. And so, alright, so we got that. And also we put a couple other things in the picture. We labeled the Bob's velocity D, he's drifting with speed D to the right, and we suppose that at the instant Bob receives her sound signal, when he hears Alice's clap, we suppose that he has traveled that distance D in Alice's space. So he started at Alice's location, and he drifts, when he hears her clap, he's a distance D away from Alice. Okay, and then the beautiful thing about what is CT versus S, since T versus X, these are 45, and so that's D, then what's that? D, and that's also D. It's not sure what percent CT, stop right there. Okay, so that's our picture there, and from that picture, what we did is, essentially, there was subliminal sorry. Okay, so Bob is moving at subsonic speeds, so slower than the speed of sound. Okay, so that's that. And the most important thing on this picture is this time here. Okay, so we're wondering how much time it lasts for Bob. Okay, so what we do know is that time must be proportional to CT. So we talked about that as well. So if this, so we said it was K times CT. That's the number of tick marks on here representing the ticking of Bob's clock. And the reason for that is remember, if we were to double this time, say make it this big, then we would also double this time. Okay, so whatever this time is, that's our unknown. It must be just proportional to that time over there.